His target is a Fed governor. Lisa Cook is her name. The president posting on social media that Cook must resign now, he says, after the head of the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency, an outspoken critic of the Fed, accused her of mortgage fraud, claiming in a letter to the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, that Cook falsified bank documents and property records to secure more favorable terms on a loan. In a statement, Cook said that she had no intention of being bullied into stepping down. She is just the latest perceived political enemy of the president to face mortgage fraud accusations. NBC News reported this same month that Bondi had appointed former interim U.S. Attorney Ed Martin to serve as a special attorney to investigate similar allegations against California Senator Adam Schiff and New York State Attorney General Letitia James. Both of them have pushed back on those allegations. And NBC News politics reporter Alan Smith is joining me now. So, Alan, start with the allegations, and we'll talk about the bigger picture here. But first, what are these allegations against Lisa Cook?
So the allegations against her are actually quite similar to the allegations that are against Tish James and Adam Schiff. And it is that on a mortgage application, she listed a residence as her primary residence that wasn't necessarily where she was living most of the year. This is actually a pretty common occurrence that we've seen in campaigns. You know, I was talking to somebody who's worked on a number of Republican campaign efforts over the last few years, and they said one of the first things they have researchers look into is whether or not a candidate has listed a residence as their primary residence that is actually not where they're spending most of the year. And this is an issue that, again, comes up in campaigns all the time. But as this person told me, look, this often, you know, if someone does do this incorrectly, often leads to a fine. It's not something that's going to screw their entire life up. So it's interesting that, you know, as soon as these allegations have surfaced, President Trump has already called for resignations, and we've seen Ed Martin really push hard for the Fed to take immediate action before an investigation has even taken place.
Just a reminder to folks, if they're not familiar, Ed Martin, of course, was the man who was among those who was heavily defending the January 6th defendants here in Washington, D.C. So you talk about the impact it could have on an individual's life. Is there a criminal investigation into Cook right now? Like, what are the stakes here?
So Ed Martin did come out today and express interest in looking into this and has already written directly to the Federal Reserve chairman. So, you know, right now he is explicitly investigating Adam Schiff and Tish James over such allegations. And just today has come out and said that he is very much open to looking into the latest allegations against the Fed governor, Lisa Cook.
So the big picture here, Alan, critics say that this is the latest example of President Trump using the Justice Department to go after his political opponents, perceived or otherwise. Do the allegations against folks like Cook, against Schiff, they don't clearly merit investigations like this. This is obviously pretty unprecedented here. So what does this say about the sort of the bigger picture? This follows a trend where the president was attacking Jerome Powell. Now he's found ways to attack Biden-appointed members of the Fed governing board. How do you sort of read the big picture of the climate that we're witnessing?
Well, it's interesting because I would separate the Fed example out just slightly, because it's not as if Lisa Cook was on the front lines of investigating President Trump, or as Adam Schiff was, right, a lead character in the impeachment investigations against him. But what it does say is that the president is deadly serious about turning the tables on folks who did spend years investigating him or were heavily involved in some of the impeachment actions or legal actions involving him and his business. And, you know, this is just the latest sign that it's not just talk for him. He wants to take action.
Yeah, or they are an obstacle to some policies that he wants to see implemented, specifically as it relates to the Fed, a desire to have interest rates cut. We've heard him call Jerome Powell all sorts of insults, including to his face, although in front of him he was a lot more polite in terms of his language. Alan Smith with the latest on that reporting. Alan, we appreciate it.